This video is going to talk about coloring and shading your city drawing. We're going to start by choosing light, medium, and dark of each color. So I'm going to start with the grass. And just like we did when we learned how to shade and color our apples, I'm going to start with the lightest color first. And try to go in just two directions. Try not to color all over the place in every direction. In my drawing, I'm going back and forth, left to right, and I'm overlapping it with up and down strokes. Staying in one direction or just overlapping two directions is a great way of avoiding scribble, and it helps it look like a nice smooth even shade. And going back over it in a second opposite direction helps it fill in all the white spots and look nice and solid green. Alright, make sure you color it a nice smooth solid color before you add any shading. And now I'm going to start adding some shading. And what you want the ground to do is get brighter and bolder and a little bit darker as it moves toward you. So as it goes up the page and moves back towards the horizon line, it's actually going to fade and get a little bit lighter. So down towards the bottom, that grass is going to be really close, the closest spot toward you. And that's where you're going to color it a little bit darker. And then let that green color fade as it goes back into the distance. We'll switch from your light green to a medium green and just go over everything. Just repeat your steps. Just put another layer of green to make it another smooth, even shade and fill in all the white spots. Remember to keep it light back in the distance and shade a little bit darker up close down towards the bottom. Just keep going over it and try to make it all blend and match. Right. Now after that step, I'm going to take dark green and just repeat those steps again. 3 different color greens overlapped and mixed together. Try to make them fade and blend nice and smooth and easy as it goes back in the distance. Now we're going to add a shadow. And the shadow is going to be dark green because the grass is green. Remember, the shadow goes opposite the light and should be the same shape as the object casting the shadow. I'm adding just a little bit of texture to the grass to make it look more grassy, a little bit more realistic. Okay, we're going to do the same steps with the sky. I'm going to get 3 different color blues, light, medium, and dark. Start with the lightest color. Your sky is going to do the opposite of the ground. So near the vanishing point, near the horizon line, it's going to be the lightest shade. And then as it goes up the page, it's going to get darker. And as it goes up the page, it's going to appear as if it's coming closer to us. So you're going to shade the sky exactly the same way with different colors, with blue. And shade it opposite. So the darkest part's at the top. The lightest part is back towards the horizon line. Overlap 3 different colors of blue so that they mix together. And remember, stay in just side to side or up and down strokes. Try not to go all over the place. Now I'm going over it with dark blue. And I'm only adding the darkest blues up towards the very top. And if you want to have a little bit of fun with your sunset, you can add some orange. That's what I'm doing here. Let's give it a little color. All right, now the black road, it's going to follow the same thing as the green grass that it's on. Shade in 2 directions, right to left and up and down. Remember, down towards the bottom, the closest spot towards you is going to be the darkest. So I'm going to keep going over that and make it darker. And my road's going to fade as it goes back in the distance. Now when I do this little road here going sideways, I'm going to match the color of the part of the road where it intersects with the other road. Remember, left and right and up and down. Okay, I think I'm going to make my building red, like a brick building. So I got my light, medium, and dark. I'm going to start with light first. And don't forget that there is a light source when you shade an object, and I made that little orange dot up there to show where the light's coming from. That'll be where my sun can be. So I'm going to start by shading the whole box or the whole building light red. The sides of the building or the sides of the shape that you're coloring will tell you which directions you can color in. For example, on the front of the building, you can color up and down or left and right. Overlap both directions. On the top, you can color left and right or diagonal. And on the side, you can color up and down or diagonal. Try not to move away from these directions. These directions are going to help create the illusion that your building is three-dimensional. Now I'm going in with a darker red and I'm starting to build shadows opposite the light. So for each shape, we've got three shapes of the building here, the top, the front, and the side. And for each shape, it's going to be lighter towards the light, and as it moves away from the light, it's going to get a shade darker. Now, even when your building's finished, that doesn't mean that you're totally done with it. You can always go back in like I'm doing here and adding texture. So I wanted to make this a brick building. So I'm going to take my darkest red and start drawing my brick pattern. When you make bricks, you first stripe the building, and then I'm going through and I'm separating the stripes into smaller bricks. Now, your building doesn't have to be a brick building. It could be a stone building, it could have siding, it could be made of wood, or it could just be plain. I like to add textures to my building because it adds a lot of detail. It makes my drawing look a lot more advanced. And I think I'm even going to add a little bit of a darker roof to this. A lot of buildings have that black tar roof, so that's what I'm going to add there. You can add some bushes around your building to give it more detail and make it look more realistic. And then you can even take some different colors. And I'm just going to vary the colors of my bricks to make it look a little more realistic. Lots of detail. This would be for a more advanced drawer. And of course, don't forget to add doors and windows. My building doesn't have any of those just because it's a coloring example. You can use your eraser to lighten up some of the bricks. That's what I'm doing here. So I'm going to go ahead and call this one finished. I want you guys to work on coloring and shading your city drawings. Good luck.